Well, good morning to. I've just witnessed one of the most spectacular takeoffs I ever seen. So I'm at the Bosque Del Apache in New Mexico, and I've been staying here for a couple of days and trying to find out what's all the fuss is about. They say there's lots of birds and other things to take photos of here, so I will give it a shot. Hopefully the weather will calm down a bit. This night was quite windy, so to speak. So well, it looks like it's gonna be a good day anyway, so let's go on. Well, it's good to be back in the car. It's quite windy outside and it's really cold. It's below freezing. The clouds were in the way for the sun this morning, so it wasn't that nice background that I could have. But anyway, seeing the thousands of birds just taking off 50-100 meters away from you and flying over you, it's really spectacular. Downside is that I found a lot of bird poo on the car, but I can live with that. So let's go on and see what we can find. So I was quite lucky this morning. I arrived quite late. It was my first time, so I didn't know exactly when to be here. And there were lots of cars there, I would say about 50 cars and more people standing and waiting in the cold wind. I just parked my car, put up my gear, put out the GoPro and went back to the car, and the blast off took place. So I was quite lucky there. Hopefully I'll be lucky the rest of the days here, but yeah, you need some luck sometimes. What you've seen is the snow geese taking off, and this place is known for the wintering snow geese and the cranes, the sandhill cranes. But also with that many birds in one location, you will also attract birds of prey and mammals like coyotes and such. And hopefully I will see some of those. I don't know if you can see in the tree out in the pond, there's a bald eagle sitting and waiting for a chance to get some food, some breakfast I would say. So it looks good, it looks good. I'm going to drive around here. The Bosque Del Apache has different loop roads, and I will be driving around and see what I can find. So when I get to new places like this, if I'm not lucky as I was this morning, I usually prefer to drive around, get a feel for it, and man, the sun is bright. As I was saying, when I get to a new area like this, I usually spend some time driving around or walking around, trying to figure out where the animals are, or the birds. They are like us humans, creatures of habit, and so if you find them in one area, you will probably find them there again. And also I just had my second coyote experience. A coyote came running along the road I was driving. I saw it in the mirror, and just when I stopped, he took off into the bushes. That could be interesting to see them more closely. I've just seen them on distance before, so I'm looking forward to that. So let's drive on. So the snow geese wasn't the only one that took off. When they just left, I turned around and all the photographers were leaving as well. So the car spread out, and now I'm driving the north loop. It doesn't look that there is many photographers here, so I'm thinking maybe they're gone to the south loop. And that's a question when you get to a new place. You don't really know where to go. So yeah, well, I think it will be all right anyway. Just have to drive around and learn. It's a learning day today, and hopefully tomorrow I know exactly where to go. So I spotted the snow geese again. They're up in the air, and it is a mighty sight, I must say. I hope you can see this. So I can get closer and maybe get some portrait shots. So I found some of the photographers, and I can see why. There are literally thousands of cranes just beside the road here, the sanity cranes. One of the tricky things today is to find a spot where you have the wind in your back, because they will start and land towards the wind, and so far I had the wind towards me, so that means they have taken off away from me. I think this is a good place to see them taking off and landing straight towards the camera. As you might see, the cranes are keeping the distance to the cornfields, the stems. I think that is because there could be some predators hiding in there, so they don't want to get surprised. So now I've been driving around the North Loop, the 11 miles, and well, there was lots of cranes. Did see some snow geese, but they were far away, and turkeys. That's nice. And now I'm going to the South Loop and look what that can offer. Hopefully some mammals. Love that. And yeah, we'll see what happens. So it's 9 p.m. and the sun is really hard. The sun is really bright, and looking into the water you get the reflection and you almost get blind. But anyway, this is a reconnaissance drive anyway, so it doesn't matter. So usually when I drive along like this I have the windows down, but I have the wind in from the rear, and that makes the whole compartment here filled with particles and dust. So I have to close the windows. It's better when we turn around and get the wind in the front instead. Then I have windows down. So now I completed the South Loop, and it wasn't much activity. Some ducks, and they were in the water, and the sun was behind them, so there were no photo opportunity there. Maybe this evening when the sun is on the other side could be nice. We'll see about that. So I will drive the North Loop once again, see what happens. I had two occasions where the roadrunner has been running across the road just in front of me. I'd love to get a photo of one of them. So they're quick. Have to keep my eyes out and camera ready. So the bald eagle is sitting and waiting, but I think the wind is too strong today, so the most birds just hunker down and feed as much as they can. Hopefully the wind will be slower tomorrow, or even this evening. Yesterday night or last night was very windy, and it's hard to even take photos, especially filming. The wind just rocks the whole tripod and the camera, so it's just shaky. But yeah, from the car works, but outside in the wind, not so much. So now it's time to get some coffee and rest. I don't think I will be driving here in the midday. We'll be returning in the afternoon, and yeah, I'll see you then. Well, as you can see, there is no problem with distance here. One can get really close to the snow geese and Ross geese. The problem here is finding a composition that is good for the eye. Right now there are lots of geese and there's no problem, but you have to isolate something, a subject. That is the tricky part. Still it's quite bright, but yeah, within an hour or so the sun will set close to the horizon and we'll have softer light here, so I'll hang around and see what happens. So instead of hanging out looking at the white birds up at the other place, I decided to drive around the second reconnaissance drive this day, the afternoon drive, and see what happens then. Birds, animals change behavior sometimes during the day, so it's nice to see if there's any other location that is good. And as I said before, animals are creatures of habits, so I found the roadrunner at the first spot I saw this morning, and it looks like this is the spot he used to stay at, and I got a little shot and a short sequence among the trees. So the sun is rapidly descending, and I've just finished the south loop, and in about 30 minutes the sun will hit the horizon and the sunset has begun. So hopefully I will make it through the north loop and back to the geese, but we'll see. So I'm back at the fields, the northern loop, with all the cranes, and they are starting to take off. They are going back to their roosting place for the night. I'm trying to get a photo of them taking off straight towards me, backlit with the sun. It's quite tricky, but I hope it works. Well, it has been a eventful afternoon. I just saw a javelina, small pig, and it was quite curious. I think it was a he, and so I sat down and he came closer to investigate me, and I got some good shots like that. There's no way that I can vlog during those brief moments. I hope you understand it. So there's some pictures in the end. So this has been the first day here at Bosque Del Apache, and I've learned a lot about where the animals and birds are, I have some luck also with getting someone on camera. The Roadrunner and Jolinas, yeah, some other. So hopefully tomorrow I can use this to my advantage. Or maybe it is that I have been beginner's luck today, finding out those shots. So we'll see what happens. But I will end this episode right now. As I said, it's been a long day, and hope you enjoyed it. The vlogging part has been so-so. There has been so much activity sometimes that I haven't had time to vlog. But anyway, I hope you can consider subscribing and give a comment, please. Oops. Give a comment, as I said, and yeah, like. And I see you in the next one.